All right, let's talk about something that I know keeps a ton of startup founders up at night. You know that feeling, right? Your company's taken off, it's growing fast, but behind the scenes, it feels like you're just running around putting out fires. It feels like the very speed you're working so hard for is just creating this whirlwind of chaos. If you're nodding your head right now, I want you to know you are not alone. Not even close. This is pretty much the #1 operational challenge for startups today. So many of them launch with this incredible energy, but then they hit a wall, or worse, they fail, all because their internal operations just can't handle the speed. And this gets to the heart of the problem, what we call the startup growth paradox. It's kind of crazy, right? The very thing you want more than anything else, fast growth, is often the very thing that creates this debilitating chaos. That whole "we'll just figure out the process later" mindset, it's a really dangerous trap. And the risks here, they are so real. Just look at this. In one case, a shocking 43% of clinical trials in a medical research company were delayed because of totally preventable paperwork errors. I mean, that's not just a small hiccup. That's a massive roadblock to getting things done. Or how about this one? At a real startup, Tech Connect Solutions, they took a hard look at their support process and found that 64% of what their team was doing added zero, and I mean zero, value for the customer. Think about that. Nearly 2/3 of their effort was just gone. Wasted. And sometimes the cost is just catastrophic. ShipQuick had a $1.2 million disaster in their fulfillment center, all because their processes couldn't scale. These aren't minor issues, you guys. This is the kind of stuff that can literally sink a company.
And this is how it happens, right? These little process gaps, they just snowball. It starts with simple errors and having to do rework, which is frustrating. But that leads to inconsistent quality. Then your team gets burned out from constantly fixing things. And before you know it, customer complaints are up, revenue is down, and your growth just hits a wall. It's a really vicious cycle.
So how do we break this cycle? This is where we flip the script. We have to start thinking differently. Process isn't some boring thing that slows you down. No way. When it's done right, it's your secret weapon for growing fast and sustainably. Now, I know exactly what a lot of you are thinking. Process? Ugh, that means bureaucracy, red tape, becoming some slow corporate giant. And that's the biggest myth we've got to bust. There's a huge difference between that burdensome bureaucracy on the left, which is all about rigid rules, and what we call enabling processes on the right. These are flexible, they focus on the results, and they actually remove friction for your team. And this idea builds into what the source material calls the process-first revolution flywheel. And this isn't just a theory, it's this awesome, virtuous cycle. See, when you put good processes in place, your quality gets better. Better quality means less rework, which makes you faster. Being faster reduces chaos, which makes you more profitable, and that is what lets you scale the right way. Each piece feeds the next, creating this unstoppable momentum. Okay, so that sounds great, but how do you actually do it? How do you get that flywheel spinning? Well, that's where we get into the how-to, the actual system for making this transformation. It's called the Unified Magic Methodology. And this isn't some rigid academic theory. It's a really practical blend of the best ideas that are already out there. You've got Lean to get rid of waste, Six Sigma to nail your quality, Agile for speed and iteration, and Kaizen for that mindset of always getting better, all of it specifically adapted for the fast-paced, unique world of a startup. And what's cool is, this methodology gives you a map. This is what we call the startup process ecosystem. It breaks down the 5 core areas that every single startup needs to get right. How you create value, how you support customers, how you stay compliant, how you improve, and how you manage the whole thing. It makes sure you're not missing any critical pieces of the puzzle. And the journey to get there is broken down into a super practical 5-step roadmap. First, you discover. You figure out what's really going on right now. Then you design a better way. You pilot it small to work out the bugs. Then you scale it up. And finally, you optimize, because you're never really done. It's a clear path forward, not some overwhelming giant leap. All right, now for the really good part. Let's talk about proof. This is where we see how all these ideas stop being ideas and start turning that chaos into actual cash, with some pretty mind-blowing real-world results. And I really want you to take in this quote because it's so true. The results we're about to see, they're not just small improvements. They are genuinely business redefining. Check this out. Global freight logistics. They were averaging 27 days from the time an order came in to when it was delivered.
After they implemented this approach, they cut that time by 70%, all the way down to just 8 days. In their industry, that is an absolute game changer.
Or let's circle back to Tech Connect. They were facing a terrifying 47% customer churn rate. I mean, they were just hemorrhaging customers. By fixing their fundamental support processes, they slashed that churn by 68%, down to a much more sustainable 15%. Oh, and they also cut their support costs by 42% at the same time. They literally saved their business. And this stuff works across totally different industries. A medical research firm cut their regulatory delays by 76%. TechNext saw their employee turnover drop by 78% because, well, the job wasn't so chaotic anymore. And Global Freight got their on-time delivery rate up to an incredible 97%. The point here is, you don't have to choose between going fast and being great. You can absolutely have both.
So this all brings a question back to you. In today's world, where anyone can launch a startup, the real competitive advantage isn't just about what you build anymore. It's about how you build it, how consistently, how reliably, and how efficiently you deliver value. So, are you ready to make process your ultimate edge?
If the answer is yes, if you're ready to get started, then continue your journey right now. You can find some amazing resources, tools, and a whole community over at startupprocessimprovement.com, or you can follow the author on LinkedIn at Your Process Guy to keep the learning going. It's time to turn that chaos into cash.